start with? Alberto or Anne or anyone?
Not for the moment.
I thought it was a good point at the end of the discussion last time with Sarita and Ryder, who said they really found the discussion very helpful. And at the end, Jan, you were mentioning that we're always looking for answers to problems and difficulties, but actually there'll be problem after problem after problem in life. And what about understanding the reality instead? Because no one can stop having problems, but life is so very short. So what about understanding the truth that's so covered up now? So otherwise it's just self always trying to find something to do or trying to find a solution instead of just understanding what appears right now.
Life, can there be problem?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you, yes.
I see. Without life, can there be problem?
No, with life there must be problems, but without life, no problems at all.
So when there's no understanding what life is, that's the beginning of problem.
Mm.
Is
I can
problem
just-
life?
I think life is problem. Life is problem when there's no understanding.
So the real problem is life.
So life is the problem.
Because without life, there cannot be problem at all. So anyone who would like to solve problem without understanding of life, there cannot be the answer for problem at all.
Right.
The problem is now, at moment of seeing, what would you like? That object. What will you think about it? How can you find it? How can you have it? And so on. Is this a problem? So the real problem is not understanding life or whatever is now appearing. It's problem. There's clinging to that already. And something, in truth, is not there anymore. That's why beginning to understand the absolute truth of what is there now. Otherwise, there must be problem from life to life. Or we can say from moment to moment. For example, at moment of wanting, craving, attaching, is that not problem?
That's the main problem, the big problem, because whatever arises falls away instantly. So the clinging all the time to that which has fallen away or to that which hasn't come, that is the real problem in life, the cause of all the difficulties and disturbances and unhappiness in life.
That's the start of it. Sure.
That's why without understanding what condition problem, it's impossible to solve the problem at all. The answer is here and now. The answer for any problem. Who knows, even at this moment of seeing, there is attachment attached to that which experienced the object and the object which is experienced unknowingly, already there and gone. Conditioned problem from thinking about what is there as this and that. No one can stop the way life is. No one can stop the way condition now, condition such this very moment. But there can be the understanding of the truth of it. That's all. Just understanding. Who can do anything? No matter it is ignorance or understanding. Without who or thing at all. It's there by conditions. No one can stop this moment. Last moment gone, and this moment comes, and then gone all the time. Understanding it, let go, the clinging, which is the cause of problem. That's why the real cause is the second noble truth. Craving, attachment, clinging to that which is gone. It's gone already. So would you like to find it, to have it, to take it? Impossible. And understanding the way it is by conditions, it's the way to let go, trying to solve the problem. Understanding at that moment, when the object is unpleasant, it's problem. Don't want to have such object at all. But when there is understanding, it's no one and nothing, and it's gone, beginning to let go. All kinds of akusala, unwholesomeness. Let's attach to that as something. Or I. So the problem is thing and I, not understanding the absolute truth, that it's just there, very shortly, briefly, and then gone, unknowingly. No one can imagine how repetitive the succession of the arising and falling away is now, at this very moment. But learn to understand it. It's gone. It's not more. Why do we think about it so much as it's not there anymore? But that is what is there now. It's not known. That's right. That can be the beginning of understanding the truth. That's all. Just beginning again and again and again to listen, to know that what is that free moment. Nothing is there at all. No one and nothing. It's only that very moment of seeing, thinking, ignorance, no understanding of the truth from moment to moment. And this is life. And problem is now and no understanding of the truth. So is there a problem now? Or is that the cause of problem? The origin of problem. The absolute truth is now. So true is there by conditions, and there's something else, so that one has gone. Each moment is different. And it's there, so there can be the understanding of it, because it has its characteristic to be known as it is, to be truthful to the truth. What's there? That which is seen. Only that which is seen. If there is no idea, no shape, no form, no remembrance about the shape and form, how can there be the idea of something from birth to death and then nothing? All gone, even right now. Just understand.
You're losing your jump a bit. I think your sound, the sound quality, we're losing your sound quality a little bit, Jan. Is it? Okay. Morning, Cindy. Glad that you could join this discussion. I think for friends who don't know Cindy, I think Cindy is, I know from Hong Kong, but I think you're in LA at the moment. Is that right, Cindy? Good. And when you hear about the real problem in life, does it make good sense to you? Anyway, glad you could join.
I have a question for Achan, and it's from the book on the perfections, the Satya Parami. And I'll read this little bit out. In certain cases, a bodhisattva may destroy life, take what is not given to him, commit adultery, drink strong liquor, but he may never tell a lie, never utter speech that violates the truth. So Ajahn, can you speak on that, please? Obviously, the bodhisattva, he did all those other things, but he never spoke a lie.
So what's in mind of bodhisattva?
Ask again, please, Ajahn.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I just missed that first question.
What is in mind of a bodhisattva? To understand the truth, right? Of what is there. So truthful to the truth about that which is there, not known yet, that it can be known. So the considering about what is there little by little can condition more understanding that what is true and what is not true. So what is satya at that very moment to be known.
So when you sorry, Ajahn, when you say what is true, in what way true? True to what, or what is true?
Is seeing now true?
Yes, seeing is true.
And can it be understood as it is? As what is it? It's there, but what is it? Can it be known little by little from considering about it a little more? It's there by conditions. A bodhisattva didn't condition it to arise. So in order to understand the truth, one is so confident of the best thing is to be truthful to the truth. So if in life one is not truthful, telling a lie and so on, is that true?
No.
Because that's the idea of what is there as something. Is that true? That's why in order to be truthful to the truth, it has to be right understanding to understand the truth of what is there. And the lie is not a truth. Since he has such truthfulness in his mind, conditioned to understand what is there, he will not tell a lie.
But it's not just about telling a lie, is it, Ajahn? It's about even the way we think. Like we think we see things. Well, that's untrue. It doesn't go further into that. It isn't just about telling a lie, surely.
Okay. When there is a kusala at that moment, can there be the understanding that in truth it is a kusala? And right understanding begin to see the danger of telling a kusala because it's not true. So when one lives in untruth all the time, can there be a moment of understanding the truth?
No, I guess not. Look, I was thinking about the way I speak, and often it's stuff just comes out. And I've been thinking, because I've been reading this whole chapter, of the second time I've been through it, and it's like most of what I say, not necessarily untrue, but I would say useless. And maybe it's untrue what I talk about. I don't know. So it's puzzled me a bit about what truth really is when it comes to speech.
Even the moment of knowing or beginning to learn to understand that nothing is permanent, even the truth or the lie gone. See, the right understanding what is there now has to be developed in different manners, in different aspects, in different ways too. Not just stick to one way trying to do this. That's not the understanding of the truth. That's why no matter what, the truth is that it's not there anymore. And if I cling to that so much, just keep on thinking about it, try to develop it, try to change it to be more kusala, is that the understanding of Dhamma. That's why even the understanding of the truth of Dhamma has to develop from here to there, from this point to other point, situation to situation, and so on, to understand the truth. That's why as one has become Sotapanna, no more lie at all. But before that, who knows, the accumulation, even just a little bit, see, not telling a truth. One can see the danger. Why does one say like that? To lie. Why lie? What for? For me? For oneself? Otherwise, can they be telling a lie? Just for one's sake. They say clinging.
It's almost as if we shouldn't say anything, because maybe it's not a deliberate lie, but it's still talking about the things that aren't real in normal conversation with friends who are not interested in Dhamma.
But I think that is the point that Jan mentioned before, that if we just think, oh, okay, well, I won't say anything and I will stop saying anything useless, but that is the clinging, trying to make wholesomeness arise. So it's actually more clinging to the self, trying to change it, trying to change one's behavior or one's character. It's not the understanding at this moment that even when akusala chittas arise, even when there is the saying of something useless, it's gone already. No point thinking or dwelling about it or clinging to it or trying to change it, because that's the self trying to change, trying to control it again, not the understanding, not the truthfulness at this moment to what has arisen, the clinging to oneself. But I think the point is that when there is more understanding, when there is more truthfulness, less and less tendency to think of saying anything that is untrue, even a little bit, naturally, but not by trying to change it or trying to do something, just through the understanding at this moment.
Yeah, well, you've touched on, thanks, Sarah, that's great. You've also touched on another bit that I've underlined in that same chapter. The perfection of truthfulness is truthfulness or sincerity in developing kusala with the aim to eradicate defilements. If there's no truthfulness with regard to the development of kusala, defilements cannot be eradicated. And I guess I thought, well, well, I don't know what it puzzled me as to how to understand that particular sentence, but yes, I think it always has to come back to this moment. What is in this moment?
Right.
That can't be controlled.
Being truthful to what is conditioned already now, no matter its great attachment, no matter whether it's strong clinging to self or seeing or hearing. Otherwise, it's trying to change it again. Even if one keeps quiet and doesn't say anything foolish, what about the thinking at those moments? So it all comes back to this moment, understanding that they're just different dharmas that fall away immediately, not my foolish speech, not my this or that behavior, just different dharmas that are conditioned. So always back to this moment. What was said yesterday to your granddaughter, all completely gone, no point in thinking about it. What about the thinking now, the dwelling on the story with attachment or aversion? So there can be truthfulness right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it's I've been kind of reviewing the things I say, and it's kind of getting at me. And I thought, well, it's just creating dosa, trying to sort of stop something that's comes naturally, and trying to control something that well, it's probably come out already. So it's just exchanging. Go on.
I was going to say, and it's all the story about me and my problems and my difficulties and my personality. It's not the understanding of what is true at this moment. The Satya Parami, understanding what appears right now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ajahn.
It sounds like it's very much to do with at the time of the untruthfulness, the idea of self trying to control what has been said or the repercussions of it, or trying to control for oneself.
Are you addressing me, Anne? Generally.
Anyone, Sarah, Azita.
Yes, it underlying it all is the sense of self, that I think what I said then was foolish, and what will they think? Or yeah, it is underlying it all is the sense of self that I would like to have more wise conversation.
Or it can be conceit.
Yes.
It's some kind of a kusala, but not every sense of self involves wrong view of, not every sense of me doing something involves wrong view. So it can easily be conceit or just dosa, or of course attachment sometimes and wrong view, depending on the characteristic that presents itself.
Yeah, thank you, John. That's
that's helpful.
That's broadened it a little bit as well. Yes, conceit certainly relate to that.
And two, I was just thinking, Azita, it's sort of like putting the cart before the horse, forgetting about the understanding. So we get things back to front. I think we do that a lot.
What do you mean, get things back to front?
Well, the idea of the self controlling. That's what I meant by putting the cart before the horse. The horse is the understanding. Remember the understanding, forgetting about the akusala. We can't do that, I know, literally, but I'm saying that we get things, we confuse often all the time, like you were just saying before, and Sarah was reminding about the understanding is the most important thing.
Yes, I can't sort of say that's not correct. That's certainly correct. Yes, it is panya. But, you know, there's other things that go along, right? That go along with panya. Yeah, understanding. I guess I'm just feeling a bit muddled at the moment.
I think that's very understandable, Zita. You know, I think we all can be in different ways, and because we forget about development of the path, you know, and we're overwhelmed by ignorance mostly. And it's very understandable because that is kind of our default position, going back to ignorance. When there's not enough accumulations of wisdom, that must be like that. It can't be any other way.
Yes, agreed. It can't be. It is what it is when it arises. That's for sure. Yeah, thank you.
And when we think of the foolish speech or the lie as being me and my speech and my akusala, the same is done for others. We think of the other telling a lie, or there's conceit about when the other does, oh, I wouldn't do it like that, is implied. So when there's the clinging to oneself, there's also the clinging to the idea of others all the time. But actually, that is also just different dharmas. So as Ajahn was stressing, all the problems in life come back to the clinging right now. Even the idea about I shouldn't tell a lie, it's the clinging right now.
And the junk up. Oh, sorry, it's going to say ton of junk up. I found that very helpful, your first remarks this morning about essentially being truthful to the truth. There is so much of that I found very powerful, and such wonderful reminders about being, how to be true and how to be truthful. Yeah, and I'm noticing my own attachment in some sense of wanting to hear a little bit more about this aspect of what is true. I appreciated what Azita was saying so much, because I think it's relevant to us all to a lesser or greater degree. And then your remarks this morning about, you know, obviously how when we don't understand, there are more problems. You know, what is the problem of life? Is because we don't understand it, then there will be problems. I think that was, for me, a very, very, very helpful. Perhaps if you can say more, I would appreciate it, and I'm sure others would too.
Are you trying to speak, Ajahn? We can't hear you at all. I don't know if there's any problem with your microphone. We still can't hear you, Ajahn. Kun M, are you there? I think Ajahn is having some difficulties with her equipment. Can you hear me, Kun M?
Connected. I'll try. Okay.
Are you there, Kun M?
Yes, I'm here. Ajahn is disconnected. I'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
Is she having some difficulties with her equipment, Kunem?
Yes, it's probably because I cannot connect her now since she was disconnected
Right,
a
okay.
while ago.
Okay, we'll carry on and maybe you can send a note when she's connected again. Thanks, Kunem. Perhaps we can come back to that later, Sundra, when Ajahn is back, if anyone else has anything they would like to bring up. Do you have anything you'd like to discuss today, Tadao? Can you say anything on Sundra's points?
Hi, Sarah. I have a question about Nama and Rupa. And the first stage of jnana, vipassana jnana, is a Nama Rupa Paricheda jnana, yeah? So we are concerned with seeing Nama as Nama and Rupa as Rupa, yeah? And it's so hard to differentiate Nama from Rupa, yeah? It's so hard. But my very simple question is, Rupa seems to be obvious, though, for instance, yeah, visual object, we do not clearly see what visual object is, yeah, but at least what is seen is what is seen, though it's very much conceptualized. It's mingled with concepts, yeah, but at least visual object is a visual object. But so it's Rupa, but Nama doesn't appear. I've never seen seeing as seeing. Seeing Nama is so difficult. So my question is, when we say Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, are we trying to see Nama which doesn't seem to appear clearly as it is? So I'd like to know why it's so hard to see Nama as Nama. It's my question.
That's why I think it's useless to talk about stages of insight if there's no understanding of seeing now, of hearing now, of different realities now as they are. And the reason that any reality is difficult to understand is because so much ignorance covers up the truth, as we're always reminded. And often people say, like you do, oh, well, what is seen, what is visible is apparent. But usually it's something that is seen instantly. It's the idea of a thing or someone long before there's any thinking in words, but there's an impression of something. So even the rupa, the visible object, is clouded, is covered by ignorance most of the time. But it is just that reality which is seen, no thing, not anyone, just that which is seen for an instant. And how can that which is seen be seen by someone? Because what is this someone? It's just a moment of experiencing which sees what is visible clearly at that moment of seeing right now, just a moment of seeing, and then it's gone instantly. And at a moment of hearing, just the hearing itself, which arises and clearly experiences the sound, and then it's gone. But instantly there's an idea of my seeing, or I am seeing, my hearing. So again, the clinging and the ignorance cover up the truth. And sometimes people say, oh, well, anger is clear, it's understood, or attachment is clear, it's understood, but usually it's the impression of my anger, or my attachment, or my speaking frivolously, for example. But actually, they're just different namas which experience. If there was no seeing of what is visible, the visible object wouldn't appear. If there was no hearing of sound, the sound wouldn't be experienced at all. So there has to be the reality which experiences at this moment, at every moment. At the moment of thinking with anger, there has to be the thinking at that moment, and there has to be the anger which experience an object. But they're just dhammas, not belonging to anyone. But this is why the understanding has to begin with the firm intellectual understanding of what is true, that they are just different realities which experience the objects and fall away instantly. And there has to be the firm understanding with confidence at this level before it can condition the direct understanding of the seeing or the hearing. And this is the beginning of Satipatthana, when it is the direct understanding. And there has to be the direct understanding of those realities again and again before it can be the vipassana jnana, as you mentioned, the clear understanding of the distinction between nama and rupa. So without the firm intellectual understanding, the considering and reflecting again and again on how it is just different realities, different namas that experience the object, and not anyone there at all, that understanding can never develop to be the direct understanding. So it has to develop. And does it matter how little understanding there is, or what is known or not known? Not at all. Otherwise, it's just more clinging to self, which hinders the understanding, wanting to get results, wanting to understand clearly. And that's the real hindrance to understanding right now. What appears, no matter its visible object, no matter its hearing, no matter its annoyance, no matter its clinging, they're just dhammas of no importance because they all fall away instantly. So that's why really there's not much point in thinking or talking much about stages of insight. What is more useful is to understand right now what appears, no matter it's the disturbance or the clinging or the hearing or the sound that's heard. Life is right now.
I know that this is rather stupid saying, but instead of saying, it's important to see the difference between nama and rupa. Instead of saying that, why do we not say that? Find out nama. Find out nama. Because nama doesn't appear so easy. Why is it wrong to say that? Find out nama.
Who would like to find out nama? Who would like to select the object to be known now? Who would like to say, oh, forget about the rupa because that's obvious, but now I want to find the seeing or the hearing. So that's the clinging again, the I again, trying to focus on an object, trying to understand, trying to experience an object. And I just saw that a note that I think Ajahn is back now. So Ajahn might like to also add more to this point. So maybe we'll continue with this one and then Sundro can come back to his afterwards. Are you there, Ajahn, now?
Yes, just
Okay. We just repeat the topic that we're discussing, and then I'm sure you can add more comments for Tadao. So Tadao was asking about understanding Nama and Rupa, and made reference to Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, but mentioned that he thinks that it's very difficult to understand Nama, and just was asking what's wrong with trying to find Nama now. Was that your main point, Tadao?
Yes, yes.
if there's understanding of the characteristic of Nama and Rupa, can anyone find out when and what is Nama? It's not just the word Nama, but in what is there now? Someone would say Nama. Is that the understanding of Nama? Just saying Nama. But the truth is that, is there anything right now? Very simple in life, ordinary. What is there now? In order to understand Nama, not just the word. See, is there Nama now, if you try to use the word? But what does it mean? What do I understand by that word, Nama? What is that? From book, we can say seeing. There is seeing. For the person who hasn't heard about the teaching, or they cannot say what is there at all. But the one who heard about it can say there is seeing, or seeing is there. But what is the understanding of seeing as it is? Not I see at all. So to find out is to study, to consider wisely, carefully of the word Nama. It does not show up. It has no shape and form, but it experiences an object, considering that which doesn't have any shape and form or sound or smell at all, just arise to experience the object. Even arise cannot be naturally, because it's the word arise. Now it's there already, but they can be considering about the truth. If it does not arise, how can they be seeing right now? Seeing has a reason already. No one can make it arise, but we take it for I see. That's why the idea and ignorance hinder, covers up the truth of seeing, that it's there by conditions and it's gone. At moment of hearing, there's no seeing. So where is seeing, which arises to see, which arose to see just a moment ago? Where were they? From moment to moment of seeing. That's why we learn to understand the absolute truth of what is there, in order to understand the characteristic of the reality, which is there, not just by word only, not just the word, the meaning of the word only, but hearing, considering, seeing. If there is no seeing, can there be that which is seen? Even that which is seen is not known as only that which can be seen. That's why we learn about the truth, to develop, to understand it better and better, more confidence that the truth is there, covered up each moment when there's no understanding of that very object which appears. Is this the answer? It's there now. Can it be known directly now? It has risen, and now it sees. It sees, not I see. And this is the only way to understand what we take for the world, things, people, and so on, in truth. Nothing there anymore. As soon as it has risen, it falls away instantly. But so many conditions for everything to arise, it depends on whether it impinges on the base for its arising or not, like the eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, and body base. It's this moment, any moment in life. Just consider whether it's true or not. The truth is the truth. It's there to be known. It's seen. And what it's seen, without shape and form, there's no idea about it as something or someone. And seeing itself is not known at all because ignorance and attachment take it for I see instantly. Because ignorance is the moment of not understanding the truth, but hearing about the truth depends on considering about the word which represents the characteristic which are appearing. That which sees is real because it sees now, and we call it seeing, not I, the seeing. But when there's no understanding of the seeing, I see, I hear, I like, I dislike, I'm disturbed, annoyed, and so on. So the ordinary life, natural life, can condition moment of understanding the accumulation of that citta, eons and eons ago, ready to condition what is there, as the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. Only 6 ways to experience what is there as we take from the world, I, and thing, people. Is there a reality right now? And anyone make it different from the way it is? And it's gone, never to return. Is this true? This is a development of understanding to realize the truth as what we use the word vipassana. Because the truth doesn't show up yet as it's just a reality, only one kind of realities appearing to be known. No things around when it's only one object at a moment. Otherwise, can it be clear? If there are many things around, reality cannot appear as clear as it is because there are so many different characteristics of realities. But when only one is known, little by little, there's no thought, no thinking about the other things at all. Only experience that with understanding little by little. Nothing is there, only that reality. But now it's not like that. So many things around, many people. So how can the reality, the characteristic of each one appear clearly? It's impossible. As soon as it's there must be the idea of something. Vipassana. Otherwise, we cannot understand the great virtues of the Buddha at all. The truth is so very deep, and what appears is not as deep at all. And Buddha discerned, enlightened the truth, the absolute truth of everything. So he thought about everything in life. Just develop the understanding of the truth. No one there at all. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing, feeling is feeling, memory is memory. All are there in life, each moment, unknown. That's why hearing about the teachings, about the truth of what is there now, because if we think about life, what are there? There must be a moment in life, from moment to moment, experiencing an object. And the experiencing is a reality different from that which arises but cannot experience anything. That's all. Otherwise, it's I all the time, not the panya, right understanding, which begin to arise to understand little by little of that which is appear in life from moment to moment. Right now, unknown until it's known. From hearing, considering, to have more confidence, firm understanding. And that would be conditioned for direct awareness, on and on and on, until unless the idea of self, letting go, clinging to that as something, because the characteristic appears little by little to right understanding, developing from moment to moment, until nothing is there at all. Only one object appears, nama, rupa, prachetayana. Nama is not rupa, and rupa is not nama. And the characteristic of just one reality can be known, so that it can be letting go the idea of what are there as I again. Experience it. And that is not the vipassana, because the idea of I is there. But when it's not I, it's the reality which experience only. No doubt about the characteristic of that which is now experiencing an object. The beginning of vipassana, not enough yet to let go wrong understanding and ignorance accumulated from eons and eons ago. But it shows up to be known. The truth of it is only that. Vipassana can arise any moment, only by conditions, right understanding enough to experience that unexpectedly, because they are all anatta. That's why even the moment of vipassana or moment of satipatthana or moment of seeing right now are conditioned. It's the beginning of letting go the idea of self and thing until it's stronger and stronger, clearer and clearer, until it's moment of no more doubt, no more wrong understanding of that which is now appearing. Can you hear me now?
Yes, very clearly, Ajahn. Tadao, do you have any comments or further points or questions about the topic?
No, I do not have any more questions, but I could understand that having notion of self is very bad for seeing realities as they are. So it is always I who does everything. So it's totally wrong. And as long as we have such idea, then there is no way we can see realities as they are.
So we can see what really hinders the understanding, the taking whatever appears as something or I, and the wanting so much to experience a particular reality, because it's the idea of I that can select an object or choose what is to be understood. So that's why it's just the wrong view and ignorance only that hinders the development of the path. Because like we said before, any reality can be the object of understanding, even the moments when speaking foolishly, or the strong attachment, or even the wrong view. Any reality can be the object of understanding. But when it's I that so much wants to get a result or have a particular experience, it really hinders understanding just what appears now. But it's conditioned that way. It has to be like that. And it's also just a Dhamma which falls away instantly.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to know what the real problems are in life.
And I have another topic. Some time ago, I asked Constantine what old age is. And her conclusion was that it's concept. And at that time, I thought it's strange. For me, old age means aggregates of aging rupas, our body. But Constantine also discussed very extensively what old age is in her Thai talk, internet talk. And again, there she says that it's concept. And for me, it's very difficult to understand why old age, aging is concept. Why it's not directly related with rupas. That's my question. And that when Constantine discussed old age in her Thai talk, it was very hard to understand. It's quite profound. So I couldn't understand many things in her talk. But her conclusion was that it's mere concept. And that's what I do not understand.
I cannot hear very well. So the question is about
Aging.
Little summary, Ajahn. So Tadao said that in a previous discussion, he asked about old age and about what the reality is. And you had said that it was a concept, and he was surprised because he had thought of it as referring to the aging rupas. And he also listened to a Thai talk when you were talking about the same topic of old age. And he said it was a very deep and profound talk, but the conclusion also was that you were saying it was concepts. So he would like to discuss more about old age and why your answer to him and on the Thai talk was that actually it's just concepts.
So shall we begin to think a little more about what is age? What is the age? A moment, and a moment, and a moment, and a moment, etc. On and on and on. Or you talk about old age.
Are you going to answer to Dao the questions?
To me, it's a deterioration of our physical capability. And I very much feel it. So to me, it's not concept, it's the actual deterioration of various physical capability. And
So how is the sun?
Eh?
Does it appear as old age?
If I combined everything together, I can see that I'm aging.
So can we say that it's getting old from moment to moment?
Yeah.
That's all. But in truth, what is there? The reality is conditioned to rise and fall away in split seconds. And it depends on what world is there, Deva world, human being world, dog and cat world, and so on. So it's just to talk about reality in a moment. So when the Uttu of the body, inside the body, from arise and fall away all time, it conditions the change to appear. That's all. We call it age or old age. And the sun, much more older than anything else, but it does not look as it's old, right? By conditions.
But I do not understand why it is called concept. It is called a mere concept.
When we talk about concept, without reality, can there be concept?
No.
That's why we just talk in terms that everyone understands what does it mean by such and such word, like the sun and old age and so on. But in truth, it's just a moment of a reality arising and falling away, depending on what word, or whether it's the sun, the moon, or the water, or the people.
Tadao, if there was a young person with some disease, such as his muscles weakening and his joints aching, he wouldn't come up with the idea of being old, getting old, right? But when the same thing happens to someone like you or me, we have the idea of the same thing, but we have the idea of that being the result of getting older. I think that's what it means, just concept.
Yeah, I can see your point. But it's hard for me who can actually see the aging of my faculty, my body.
I think that's because we take it as a whole, because like now, when the eyesight isn't so good and we talk about the aging eyes, but we're just thinking about the story of the eyes, because the eye sense arises and falls away at each moment, conditioned by karma. So it depends on past karma, what eye sense is conditioned at this moment. And actually every reality, every rupa, every nama as well arises and falls away. So there's an aging of every reality at every moment. But what we think conventionally as aging, or even conventionally as death, is not the truth about the reality at this moment. The aging of the reality and the death of each reality from moment to moment. So we take the conventional truth, the conventional story about aging and death for being real, but actually this is just thinking about the story of aging and death because of having experienced the different realities that have arisen and fallen away.
Okay, so it's a story.
It's a story. If there's no eye sense and ear sense and body sense and other realities experienced, there would not be this story about the aging of the body. But there is the story of the aging of the body because of the memory about these different realities and the thinking about them, thinking about how the eye sense is not as good as it used to be, or thinking about how the color of the hair is not the same as the color of the hair before. So on account of different realities that are aging and falling away all the time, there is the thinking about the story about old age and death. Even death at the end of life is just a conventional idea about death, because actually the reality dies at every moment, and the last moment of this life is followed by the first moment of the new life, just the same. But because the different realities that have fallen away are remembered, we have the story, there's no more my father, no more my mother, but actually it's a story about death, not the understanding of the truth of death at this moment, or the truth of aging of the rupas at this moment. So they're concepts on account of the realities at this moment.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's no thinking now about being old or having different colored hair, then is there any being old and having different colored hair? At a moment of hearing, is there any old age? So it's only when there is thinking about the story.
And what is the age of one rupa? Upada, Titi, Charata, Anicca, Upajya, Santati, Charata, Anicca. Even one rupa, the moment of when it arises is not the moment when it's gone. So it's only thinking about the characteristic of rupa and nama.
Just for one or two friends like Cindy Jan is just mentioning how each rupa, each reality, like what is visible or what is sound or the hardness now, has different stages of arising and falling away and dying. So actually, in the ultimate sense, the death of reality is so fast, it can't even be imagined. So there is the decay arising and decaying and death of each reality, even at this moment. We think about the decay of the body, but actually each rupa, each element decays at every moment, completely unknown. But it brings about such an effect. So this is why there's thinking about the aging of the skin or the aging of the hair or the aging of the body. But actually, in truth, the aging is of every nama and every rupa, every element in life, all the time. And it's not my body or my hair or my skin or my anything that ages, just the aging in truth of these different realities. All gone, nothing worth clinging to at all. But like Tadao said at the beginning, it's so deep and so subtle. Used to clinging to my body, my skin, my hair all the time, not understanding that they're just different elements arising and falling away instantly. I notice Sarita is here now. So Sundra, maybe you would like to bring up your point that you addressed to Ajahn earlier when she didn't have her connection.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Tana Junkup, I find it so very helpful this morning when you're talking about, well, we often say there are problems in life. And we wonder what that's all about sometimes, and we forget that the problems of life are intrinsic to the nature of life when it's not understood. In other words, if we don't get I was speaking before to, I don't know if the analogy is perhaps helpful in Thai, but in English we say, I'm sure they have a saying in Thai also, we put continually the cart before the horse. And of course, the horse here is an analogy for wisdom. And if we put the cart in front of the horse, well, we're not going to go very far. And so we forget about the development of understanding so much and so often. So what would you like me to talk about, Ajahn, is the theme really that you were speaking about this morning, how the problems of life are caused because of not understanding life, and how that lack of understanding leads to more and more problems.
So now, is there the understanding of what is the real problem?
Oh, it's always a good question, Ajahn. No, at that moment there wasn't. I was thinking, oh, where's Ajahn? I was thinking, perhaps you're having more problems with your the technical gear that you have to be with us every day. So at that moment there was just dosa, a level of dosa.
Without seeing problem as problem, they cannot be the way out of samsara.
Cup. That makes sense to me, of course. Please continue, Tanaja.
That's right. Even the real problem is very difficult to understand. So when there is the understanding of the truth of problem and how to have no problem, that's the teaching of the Buddha. Only when there's no samsara.
And I appreciated how you related the problem, in many ways we can just call that dukkha, to the cause of the problem, which is the second noble truth, as we know, which is dukkha samudaya, the arising of dukkha, which is obviously attachment. So attachment and problems are intimately bound up with each other. And if we don't have any understanding, we'll continually have more and more problems.
And when there is the understanding of problem, it's the understanding of the Four Noble Truths.
So when you say, Tanajan, it's the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, I can get the problem, which is dukkha, and
If life is a problem, how can that be the first Noble Truth?
true, Ajahn, true.
So the real problem is not just what we think, but it's the problem of the arising and falling away of realities by condition. As long as there are conditions, there must be that which arises and fall away, include, and that is problem.
Mm.
The outer problem is understanding the Four Noble Truths from one to one.
Mm.
And that is the understanding of the truth, the first stage, pariyatti.
Yeah, that intellectually, I think is grasp. I can grasp that. It makes sense to me. And so what you're saying, of course, having a clear understanding of that truth intellectually is a valuable support for deeper understanding, or that theoretical support, or the pariyatti, if you like, is a valuable support for the patipatti.
That's why the 12 rounds, the pariyatti of the Four Truths, and the development of the Four Noble Truths, and the realization of the Four Noble Truths.
So great patience is needed, Tanajan, to attend to the truth. Please, Sarita, if you have any questions, please go ahead.
I don't have a question at the moment, and I'm really enjoying listening to the discussion. And if I do, I will certainly speak up. Thank you.
Hi, Sarita. Glad you've made it here anyway.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Happy to be here.
And Tadao, I was going to say that, so this relates back to the aging. So the aging is actually not what we think. So it seems that the problem is getting old and having the gray hair and the body decaying and so on. But actually the real problem is just not understanding the truth that every reality in life arises and falls away. So while there's life, there is a problem. So it's not the problem that we think. The problem is the continuation of life, the continuation of the arising and falling away of realities, life after life after life. From the very first moment of life, there was the aging of each reality and the problem of clinging to it. So it's not anything new in old age, just different objects of thinking.
Yeah, I can see it. The aim of Buddhism is elimination of suffering.
Because whatever arises and falls away is unsatisfactory, not just what arises and falls away in old age. So that's why only understanding the truth of life can understand really what the real problem is, not the idea that we think it is when the body is sick or when we're in hospital or when our hair goes grey. these are just conventional ideas of the problems, or when we have no money, or when the flights are cancelled. These are just the conventional ideas. The real problems relate to the nature of each reality in life as revealed by the Buddha. And only the letting go of the clinging little by little through understanding can solve the problems. Not the wishing to have special experiences, or the wishing not to be sick, or the wishing not to get old.
Yeah, but it's a very slow progress.
Right.
Very slow progress.
And what is it that would like it to speed up?
It's nice to have quick wisdom. But
That's a problem.
yeah.
Wishing it to be quicker, and so that's why the understanding has to be accompanied by great patience.
Those rupas that are conventionally aging, like Tadao brought up, those rupas of the body, they're conditioned by Dhamma, aren't they?
Like the eye sense or the body sense, they're conditioned by karma. But usually what we think of as the body that's aging are concepts, are ideas, not the actual realities.
Right.
Like
Yes.
when we think of the grey hair or the bad eyesight, we're thinking about concepts about physical matter, not actually the understanding of the visible object or the eye sense or the hardness that is touched.
Right. I
But
guess
the rupas of the body that we refer to that are aging, like the body sense itself or the eye sense, these are conditioned by karma. But there are other rupas in the body that are conditioned in other ways by the temperature, the nutriment, and the chitta. So actually what is experienced are different rupas conditioned in different ways. Like who can say at this moment whether what is taken for the body sense, whether it's conditioned by karma or by temperature.
Mm.
So we think about a lot of stories about the body, but actually there's no understanding of the actual realities and the conditioned nature of them.
Right, of course. I thought I had sort of a little story going on about the aging rupas being conditioned by Dhamma, but yeah, I can see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and always we do have these stories, conventional stories of aging, even seeing people age, even children, seeing children grow up. But it's all a concept, because it's only ever the present moment, and realities arising and falling away. So that idea of aging or children growing up and turning into adults is I guess it's Sanya. Sanya has marked rupas a while ago. Yeah, look, I'm getting into too much of a conventional story here, but to come back, always to come back to now is, this is what the reality is that can be known, is this momentary arising and falling, and the other stories are just conventional stories.
And if we hadn't heard anything about the actual realities, like the coldness that is in the body now. Who can say whether it's just conditioned by temperature or nutriment or whatever? And if we try to work it out, then it's just I trying to catch it again. But we know that there are just different rupas rising and falling away, conditioned in different ways. Without this considering, there would be no idea that what we think about as aging is just a story, just an idea, not the reality itself.
Yeah.
And because there have been these countless rupas conditioned by karma and other conditions arising and falling away, as you say, there is the memory and the thinking about the aging child, the aging person. But what is thought about is so different from the understanding of the reality. And that was why at the beginning, Tadao said he'd heard Ajahn referring to the concepts. So I think it's now apparent to Tadao why the answer was that what we think about as old age are just concepts, ideas, different from the understanding of the aging of what appears right now.
Well, I'd like to go back just to that, the rupas of the body that are conditioned by Dhamma. You spoke about the pasada rupas, but what about other rupas of the body? You know, my arm, which is a concept I know, but are they the only rupas of the body that are conditioned by Dhamma?
And the masculinity, femininity, but
Right.
it's not experienced, or the heart sense not experienced. The Jivitindriya Rupa, without the Jivitindriya Rupa, there couldn't be any group of rupas conditioned by karma. There couldn't be any body sense group of rupas or eye sense group of rupas without the Jivitindriya Rupa. But who knows about the Jivitindriya Rupa? Just that we know that only those groups conditioned by karma have that Jivitindriya Rupa. That's why what we take for the arm, these rupas are different from what the groups of rupas taken for the table or the chair, which don't have Jivitindriya Rupa. The dead body no longer, there are still groups of rupas that make up the arm or the body, but no more groups of rupas conditioned by karma, no more Jivitindriya Rupa. So what we think of as conditioned by karma, like the arm or the body or the person, are just ideas, not the actual realities at all. So the Buddha's teachings are very precise, and the only reason for discussing or considering what is conditioned by karma is to show that actually there's no body there, no arm, in truth, no aging person at all.
Yes, very, very intricate. Yeah, thank you.
So there are also groups of rupas in the body conditioned by temperature all the time and by nutriment and also by chitta.
And we don't know what they are because they're very hard to understand. I mean, we don't even know nama from rupa, but these rupas that are conditioned by these four things. I mean, it's you know, my question is, well, which ones are conditioned by which? But that's impossible. I mean, they're there and they're gone. So yes. but that's good reminders. I'd forgotten about the Jivid Indriya and which is only in rupas that are conditioned by Dhamma. Thank you. Good reminders. Good reminders of how much I've forgotten.
This is for Cindy. Cindy, we're talking about the rupas, those realities which cannot experience anything, and the rupas outside the body, like the rupas that make up what we think of as the table or the tree. These different rupas outside the body are just conditioned by temperature, by heat or cold. It seems that the tree behind you is living, but actually no, there are no rupas conditioned by karma in the tree. There are just different groups of rupas conditioned by temperature. But in the body, there are groups of rupas that are conditioned by temperature, like obviously when it's hot or cold outside or even inside in the body, it conditions the different physical matter, and groups that are conditioned by chitta, like the kind of thinking conditions the physical phenomena. When one's angry and one's face is red, then one can see that the physical phenomena conditioned by that chitta with anger, for example. And there are physical phenomena like the eye sense or the body sense, which are conditioned by karma. And there are also groups of rupas that are conditioned by nutriment. Like if one doesn't eat anything, then the physical matter is affected, or if one eats too much, it's affected. But actually there's even nutriment within the body conditioning the physical phenomena. So it's very intricate, but it's just to show that no one controls anything. There are just different rupas conditioned in different ways, and different namas, which Tadao was asking about, those realities that experience an object like seeing and hearing and kindness and anger. They are also conditioned in different ways, not my control or not I doing anything at all. So that is the fantasy, that there is the aging of a body and an I that can control it. But actually there are just these different mental and physical phenomena arising and falling away all the time by different conditions. So the aging is now at every moment in life. Every rupa that Zita was referring to, the body sense, the eye sense, the hardness that's experienced, is aging all the time. The seeing, the hearing, every reality arises and falls away. No matter we're talking about a baby or an old person or a deva or an animal, same, just different realities arising and aging and falling away. Sarita, did you and Ryder have any more discussion about the idea of identity and the letting go of the wrong view of self? Alberto, have you got anything you would like to bring up today?
Hi. Yes, I was thinking about what Ajahn was saying about aging and the Rupa aging, and she mentioned the Utu, which, as we know, it's in every Kalapa is Utu with it. So it's interesting, and she also mentioned like the sun. So even the sun is aging, which all I think it's very subtle. It's a very subtle subject. Even aging is not easy at all to understand the truth of it. And aging, Utu, I was thinking if like in also Kalapa conditioned by other condition apart from Utu, they have themselves the Utu. So it's like I think that when Ajahn mentioned Utu, he meant all other condition for Rupa as well, like Chitta and Kamma and Ahara, because every Kalapa is Utu, so no matter what originally conditioned it, it's like being keep on going because of Rupa being conditioned by Utu. I think that was really interesting. So maybe Ajahn can talk more about how Utu condition even the aging of the body and of the sun as well.
Sarita, Utu is temperature. I just want to mention that.
And I would like to add another point before Ajahn begins her reply to Alberto that may be relevant also. Ajahn can comment on. As I understand it, when we talk about aging, we're just referring to Rupa, not Nama. And I'm wondering if there's a connection between the fact that Rupa are defined as being that which can be that is liable to be molested or to break up. That's part of the textual sort of definition of Rupa by word association. Is this relevant to the question of aging? Thank you.
The Rupa is the Rupa. Can anyone change it? Not the Rupa. The reality which arises, it has its own characteristic and then it's gone. That's why when we talk about the word aging, it's before death. Can we say that? So for any Rupa, like Mahaputa Rupa, for primary Rupas, hardness is hardness. No one can change it to be different reality. But whatever arises falls away. And when it's Rupa, it lasts longer than Nama. Because 17 moments of Chitta are Rupa, which arise falls away. That's why before falling away of Rupa, that which is there, before falling away, can we say that it's different from moment when it falls away. So the moment before falling away is aging. Can we say that? It's different from the moment when it falls away. And before it falls away, it's there because it's conditioned to arise. So the moment of arising is not the same moment as dying. So the moment before dying, can we say that it's aging? And for Nama, it arises and falls away instantly, so very, very fast. So after it arises and before falling away, what is there is keep it shorter than the time we can get, but it has to be longer than that to be aging before dying. So it's just the way it is. What is there as Rupa is different from what is there as Nama, but they all arise and fall away. Nothing which arises doesn't fall away. It has to fall away. That's why we can understand the difference between the Nama and the Rupa, that the Rupa lasts longer than Nama. Nama only 3 moments, but for Rupa, moment of arising and before dying are different, so we can use the word aging. Only one Rupa is enough to experience it as dying or aging. That's why even so, it just tells the difference between the age of Nama and Rupa. That's all. The moment before birth is what we say, aging. But for Nama, it's so very short, just arise, just sustain, and then fall away instantly. Not enough time to have the aging like Rupa. Just to understand the difference, the length of lifespan of the Nama and the Rupa, that's all. So what's the question about now?
Alberto, would you like to just summarize your question again about the temperature, the Utu?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a question. It was just like just asking more, talking about the aging, which I think helped Ajahn, what Ajahn had just done. Thank you, Ajahn. Yeah, I think that helped. Yes. Thanks.
There must be the 4 primary Rupas, no matter what is there together. And Rupa arises and falls away too. And it lasts longer than Chitta. So it doesn't matter what condition it arises to arise. For example, hardness can be conditioned by Kamma, Chitta, Utu, and Ahara, but it has to fall away. So no difference between the conditions for Rupa to arise. As Rupa is Rupa, it has the same moment, age, like arising and falling away. But Rupa lasts longer. That's why we can talk about the moment before dying away as aging. That's all. No matter its conditioned by Kamma, Chitta, Utu, and Ahara. That's why we talk about just one aspect of a reality at a time. Whether it's conditioned by Kamma or Chitta or Utu and Ahara, hardness has to be hardness. And all kinds of Rupa arise and fall away longer than Chitta. That's all. That's why when we talk about the difference between what condition this kind of Mahabhuta Rupa, it can be by Kamma, which is different from that which is conditioned by Chitta. But the characteristic of that reality has to be the same. Hardness cannot be other thing, only hard. No matter its conditioned by Kamma, Chitta, Utu, or Ahara. All Dhammas arise and falls away, no matter it is Nama or Rupa. Even they last longer, the Rupa lasts longer than Chitta. It doesn't matter at all. Nobody can change the way that it's hard to have long, to be longer than any other rupa. It has to be like that, all kinds of rupa. So we can talk about any reality in different aspects. Whether this one, whether it arises far away, but it's conditioned by Dhamma, or Utu, or Ahara. Does the Nama arise by Utu?
No.
So we understand the difference. That's why they are different. Rupa lasts longer than Nama, that's all. So even they last longer, that is arrived by other conditions besides Kamma, Utu, Chitta, Ahara. That's why it is the absolute realities. No one can change the way it is. They are all Dhammas, no one at all. Can anyone find the one somewhere or I somewhere? Where's the I? Where is a thing? A being? Not at all. They are only different dhammas by conditions, arising and falling away right now. To discern the truth of it one by one, to understand the difference between the nama and the rupa. When it's arupa, it cannot be anything else. It cannot be I or anything or things, just hardness, no matter when it arises here or there.
And also Nama.
Go on.
Also Nama is aging. It's not.
Before anyone can think about it, whether it's aging, it's gone. That's why Nama is Titi, Upada, Titi, and Panga. To show that just lasts very shortly, not as long as Rupa. To be aging before dying.
And aging as a living being,
that is longer than Chitta. It can be just time to be aging before dying. Longer. That's why they are different. Because one cannot experience an object and the other one experience an object shorter than the rupa, the age, the lifespan. Just consider whether it's true that Chitta arises and falls away quicker than the rupa. So the time for it to be there is much shorter than rupa. no time to be aged like not rupa at all, just arise and falls away.
And Ajahn, when we talk about like the when we are born, all the faculties are not yet completed. So that there is no there is Nama and Rupa arising, but they don't have the same faculty as they after some time has passed. And I was saying, is that also an aspect of the aging of the Nama? I'm not sure if I make myself clear.
What about the moment of arupa is experienced and the chitta which experience that? No one can imagine at all how short it is. The rupa arises and falls away very quickly. But what is quicker is that which experiences it. Who knows, without the enlightenment of the Buddha, about the moment when chitta arises and falls away, and the moment when arupa arises and lasts and fall away. For example, one rupa arises, one chitta arises, fall away, before the rupa fall away. That's why the process of seeing how many chitta arise, experience only one rupa. How many chittas? The chitta is shorter than that. And at that moment, if Buddha didn't point out that what are there, as the rupa has to arise before chitta experience it. That's why before chitta can experience it, rupa has arisen. And the first process of chitta, which avert to the rupa, which impinge on the base. See, the rupa is still there, but the chitta, which advert to that object, falls away. And it conditions the next moment, seeing, because the adverting consciousness make way for only seeing to arise, to see that, while that rupa hasn't fallen away yet. See, who knows? But is it the truth that there is only one moment of seeing, many moments of chitta, which does not perform the function of seeing, but it looks like there is always seeing, no other chitta at all. That's why we can't understand what's meant by the mark or the sign or the nimitta of seeing, as seeing. But there must be many chittas before and after seeing, as much as it can be known. As it's true like this, the Vipassana Jnana experience like this. So the understanding of the reality, the nature of reality, which experiences an object is there, but not as Panchatavara, Vachana, or seeing, so on. Because what appears in the world is only nimitta of that which arises and falls away so rapidly. So when we talk about the age of the reality, like chitta and cetasika and rupa, we have the understanding from hearing and considering intellectually about the Four Noble Truths, not just only one or two or three or four, intellectually, first level, see? to understand what is there years and years ago as they are from moment to moment. Right now, who knows the Jitasikas which arise with seeing? And how many rupas arising and falling away in a process? How many jittas experience one rupa? And there must be bhavanga in between before the mind of process just experience the replica of that which gone, but is there by conditions arising and falling again and again and again. It seems like just one reality, but in truth, how many moments of that reality? That's why this is the way to let go the idea of self. At moment of understanding the amazing reality, which no one can understand easily at all. It needs the considering about what is said about it right now, whether it's just like that. To be conditioned for letting go by Sankhara Dhamma, that which now arising and falling away, not only Chitta, but also other many factors too. And this is life. At moment of not understanding, it is ignorance. So ignorance is a reality, which is not Chitta, that which is the chief of experiencing the object clearer than the other mental factor arising together. But who knows if Buddha didn't teach about the truth of every moment, every reality as no one and no thing at all. The path leading to eradicate wrong understanding and ignorance is so very subtle, much more than just intellectual understanding about it. So much subtle, crafty, lopa, ignorance is there all the time, different manners, different kinds, different ways. That's why everything in life which is there has to be known as it is, without doubt about the truth, stage by stage.
Thank you, Ajahn. Very deep points. I think we can continue next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณ
กราบเท้าท่านอาจารย์
Thank you very much.
Thank you.